The May issue of 435 magazine includes a special report on teen suicide. Many say it's an epidemic here in the metro. It's titled, "Why Are Our Kids Killing Themselves?" The story covers everything from how the teenage brain works to interviews with loved ones affected by teen suicide. And joining me now to talk about the special report is managing editor of 435 magazine, Sherry Kuehl. And we have Dr. Todd White, the Blue Valley School District Superintendent. Dr. White and Sherry, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Dr. White, you're at the forefront of addressing this topic in your schools. The numbers are horrifying. Teenage suicide is cited as the second leading cause of death for young people in Kansas and in Missouri. And in the last decade, the teen suicide rate has soared by 70%. What is going on? Do you have any theories as to why this is happening in our schools?
Well, a theory would be, I think that the advent of social media, its presence, being there 365, 24/7, all of those sorts of things, have created an opportunity for things that could be harsh for students to hear, as well as just some of the mean-spirited things that we're seeing today out of adults as well as students. I mean, the lack of civility, I think, is adding to this, but the permanence of having it posted on social media is also, I think, a part of this issue that we're facing.
Sherry, when did you know you had to dedicate an entire article to this in your magazine?
Well, as a mother of a teenager, my daughter in one school year lost 2 friends to suicide. And these were kids that were very smart, on athletic teams, are super popular. So it was devastating to her. This one boy, Chad Harrell, she's like, he was the kid we all thought was gonna, like, you know, change the world. So it was absolutely devastating. And I think parents need to have the conversation that mental health is very important. You need to talk about depression. It is not something to be ashamed of. It is not something to sweep under the rug. We need to have honest conversations with our children about depression. They need to talk about their feelings. There's a lot of great pharmacology that's going on with tackling teen depression. So these conversations need to be had, and kids don't need to feel like they have to hold in their emotions or they're too embarrassed to talk about it. Like my daughter said, it should be like if you have a friend with celiac disease. You know your friend's triggers, so you're not gonna go to eat there, you're not gonna do this. People should be open about depression, and we need to have these conversations.
Dr. White, when it comes to social media, one of the pieces in the article that surprised me and might surprise a lot of parents is that doctors say the brain isn't even fully developed till the age 25. Yet our kids are getting inundated with all this stuff online, and the bullying can be subversive. It's not necessarily someone calling someone a name. It can be tagging every friend except that one child in a picture.
But it's not just bullying.
Yeah.
It's just, what if you're the super popular kid and you see something online and it makes you feel badly? And this is the weird thing about the teenage brain, and that the brain doesn't develop till age 25. The frontal lobe is the last part of the brain to develop, and that's the part that keeps you from making quick decisions or being impetuous, or, you know, I feel badly right now, so I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. When you're an adult, you're going to like think about it, and that's one of the reasons why teens are so susceptible to killing themselves. Their brain just is not fully formed. Yes.
Yeah, and I would agree with what Sherry's saying. It's the microaggressions, like what you talked about, the little things, but it's also this image of perfectionism that we see. And students are caught in the midst of that. I mean, they have pressures that are really unbelievable. Generation Z, which is the students that are in our classrooms today, they are said to be the most connected generation that we've ever seen, yet the loneliest.
The loneliest generation.
And I think just gave me chills. I mean, it just literally gave me chills to think about that.
We are raising the loneliest generation.
So I think for a school district and a community, if you will, is, as Sherry said, we have to talk about this issue. This is a community issue, and that there are ways in which we can combat this. There are skills that we can deliver to those yet to be developed brains that allow them the opportunity to be a little bit more mindful, to have some perseverance, to face adversity, and to know that there are skills and ways in which you can overcome certain issues that are facing you. But most of anything, we have to remove the stigma. We must talk about this issue. Hiding it only allows it to perpetuate.
Talk about feelings and talk about when you're feeling
Yeah,
sad.
and the reason we
talk
interviewed
about-
Dr. White is because Blue Valley's been on the forefront of educating now the whole child. Sure, it's a school district that's known for high achieving and having some of the best test scores in the nation, but they're kind of keeping that, but they want to educate the whole child, that the kid is just not test scores. Because I had one student tell me that death seemed not as bad as failing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that their standards are so high.
That's so sad, and it's so glad. I'm so glad that you're both here talking about it and that you're shedding light on it in this issue of 435. Dr. White, we were talking before the show. We could spend a whole hour talking about this, and it wouldn't be enough time. It wouldn't be enough time.
No, I encourage us to continue to look for ways in our community to have this conversation. I want you to also know that it's not just Blue Valley. Shawnee Mission, Olathe, Gardner,
Everywhere.
Spring Hill, that when we meet as a group of superintendents, this conversation is top of mind. We're all working it within our communities, but I think it needs to be a broader conversation throughout the county and the region, if you will, because there are resources available. We have a parent group that has begun. It's called BV Well, because they see a need for parenting to really know how to handle some of these issues that our students are dealing with, and also that once we identify it in a school or a setting where it's been noted that we're having an issue and that it needs to be addressed, there's really a vacuum, a lack of resource in our community that we can go to have, and that was noted in the article as well, is that from a clinical standpoint, we need more beds. We need more assistance in order to help us combat this issue.
And we're going to keep
Sherry.
covering the story also, so we will be
Thank you.
following this and updating our readers.
It's a must-have conversation. Dr. White and Sherry Kuehl, thank you for joining us.